Well, welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. This week we're looking at the book of Esther. Today we're going to look at Esther chapters 3 and 4, but let me give you a review. The Jewish nation has been exiled by the Babylonians. The Babylonians have been taken over by the Persians. And King Xerxes is the king. He's a powerful king. We've talked about the fact that within his office, he had the power to wipe out the Jews. He also had the power to, quite frankly, stop Western civilization. It's miraculous that both didn't happen. We see the hand of God in it, for sure. And we've been introduced to some people. There's Xerxes, who's kind of known as the God King. He's thought of, revered. His kingdom goes from India all throughout the Middle East. He's the Persian king. He has thrown a drunken party. His queen Vashti, he called her in to make her kind of a sex symbol before everybody. I think I'm proud of her. She refused, but she's banished, stripped of her title of queen. They've had a beauty contest. Esther has won it, has become the queen of Xerxes, and she's part of a harem. And so we know about Xerxes. There's Esther. Her Hebrew name is Hadassah. And then she was raised by her cousin or uncle Mordecai. And Mordecai has been advising her, been taking care of her, and he's shared with her she should not share her Jewish background, which she has not told them that she's Jewish. And so we have a new person on the scene today in chapter 3, and it's called Haman. Haman is promoted as the top advisor of Xerxes. I think today we would refer to him more as a prime minister, but he has a very high position there with Xerxes, and obviously Xerxes being the all-powerful one there, being king, but Haman has lots of power as well. And Haman is such a respected official that when he walks by people, he expects them to bow. Well, he walks by Mordecai, who's there at the gate, and guess who doesn't bow? And it's Mordecai, and it makes him angry. And my hunch is he's investigated into why Mordecai doesn't bow, and being Jewish, they don't bow before men, they only bow before God. And so not only does Haman hate Mordecai, he hates the whole Jewish nation. So he decides to deal with them, and pretty harshly, because he wants to get rid of them. He wants to destroy the Jews. And so he makes an edict out, and he is going to set a date that any Jew can be attacked and their property stolen and taken. The only thing you have to do is kill them. And so he's made that edict out. He's went to Xerxes and kind of told Xerxes there's a group of people out to destroy you. They're not good for our land. And then he gets Xerxes to sign off on this. Xerxes not knowing that his own queen is Jewish. And so Haman makes that decree. Mordecai hears about the decree and sends word to Esther to do something. And Esther, just goes back, the king hasn't called for me in a long time. And the way it was is that Xerxes decided which one of his wives he wanted, and he hadn't called for Esther in a while. And if Esther went to him without being asked, she could be killed, and that's very real. But Mordecai does something to try and convince her to do something, and he said something that I think is just very important. He basically says, this might be the very reason why you're on this earth today. And I'm reading for chapter 4, verse 12. It says, when Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer. Do not think that because you are in the king's household, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you were come to a royal position for such a time as this? Who knows but you were placed here in that position for just this time? I had an Old Testament professor. His name was Dr. David Goller, and he's gone on to be with the Lord now. I enjoyed his class. He was an Old Testament professor, and I enjoyed listening to his teaching. But more than that, I enjoyed his prayers. He could pray unlike anybody else I think I've ever heard. But every morning he would end his prayer with, Lord, help us be mindful that this may be the very day why you've placed us on this earth. And it puts a little spin on your day when you prayed that every day. And every day before class, he would pray that. Lord, help us be reminded this might be the very day why you've placed us on this earth. That there might be the person we speak to, what we do, is why we're here. And so this seems to have convinced Esther, because then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai. Go gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my maids will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. She said, I'll go to the king, but I want y'all to fast. I'm sure that prayer was with that. You all fast and pray. I'm going to fast and pray, and after 3 days, I'm going to go to him. Even though it's against the law, it is forbidden for me to go to him. But I'm going to go, and if he kills me, he kills me. If I perish, I perish. And so that's kind of what's happening right now. And so we'll pick up the rest of the story tomorrow. Very interesting story. And I hope today you will go through this day realizing maybe this is the very day why God put me on this earth. It'll change your day if you'll do that. Blessings upon you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.